All right. Last time me and Cobra talked, this is what it's going to be. I'm going to be on full face cam. Cobra's going to be talking. We're not going to turn off, like, it's not going to be like some shit where I turn off my face cam and then turn it on in Discord. We're just going to hear his points, and I'm going to give my counterpoints. Did you add me back? Alcohol argument part 2. This is round 2 with Lil Cobra of him saying that weed is worse for you than alcohol. He's gonna lose. I mean, he says he has some good points this time, and he said he has stuff about the kidney and stuff. So I mean, he might bring some stuff to the table. We'll see. Make it a YouTube video. I'm not gonna make it into a YouTube video. Okay, he said yo call. I didn't see that he added me. Hold up, I might have to turn him up. Hello.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
All right. What's your first point?
So, weed stimulates your endocannabinoid system in your brain, and
Yes.
that gives you dopamine.
Yes.
If you get too much dopamine, that's actually bad for you.
Are you bringing up the point of the dopamine receptors being worn out by large amounts of weed usage?
Yes.
You can take a week-long break from weed usage, and that effectively resets it. A lot of people try to target the idea of, like, if you smoke too much weed, your dopamine receptors will be worn out, and you'll be an unmotivated fuck. But that's just not how it is. It does skew with the reward system a little bit, but taking a small break from it, it doesn't change it that much.
So, weed also destroys some neurons in your brain.
Alcohol destroys brain cells at a much larger rate.
Yeah, but weed does it too.
Okay, but you're arguing which one's worse.
Okay, listen. So because it destroys neurons in your brain, you don't feel shit after you've used the weed.
What do you mean?
Like if you're smoking weed, you don't feel shit, right? Like you have no feelings. You can get pain, but you won't feel it.
That's such a lie. You're saying you won't feel pain on weed?
I did my research.
You feel pain on weed?
No, you don't. Believe me.
I don't, bro. What?
And
cite your source. Tell me where you saw that you don't feel pain on weed. You feel, if anything, more. Yeah, like your pain is suppressed. Like just basic spinal damage pain if you're getting a medical card. You're probably citing that off of some doctoral website about arthritis.
Like, that's what I mean.
You're wrong. But you still feel pain. Like if I smoke weed and stab my hand, I'm gonna feel pain.
Oh, okay. Listen, weed is also allergic for some people, which will give you acne and you can't breathe.
That's if you're allergic to it. You could be allergic to alcohol as well. My girlfriend's allergic to tequila. Cactus. If she's allergic to cactus, she can't drink tequila. So you could be allergic to alcohol as well.
But some people are also allergic to weed.
Yeah, but your point, you're giving points on like things that I've said, but you're not giving a point on why alcohol is worse or why weed is worse than alcohol.
Okay, so alcohol is better than weed because it's a good remedy to fall asleep.
And weed is a better remedy to fall asleep, and you don't have a hangover from weed. You have a hangover from alcohol.
But you can cure the hangover with various techniques, like eating eggs and drinking water.
You don't need to eat anything when you smoke weed. You could fall asleep instantly. That's why there's certain edibles that are prescribed for the sole reason of falling asleep. One of my friends takes them.
Yeah, but you can also use alcohol to fall asleep.
Yeah, in larger amounts. Alcohol doesn't make you tired unless you're getting abhorrently drunk. You could get slightly high and fall asleep and be perfectly fine the next day.
Okay, so alcohol also prevents kidney stones and balances your blood sugar. Yes, it does.
Large amounts of alcohol consumption does not prevent kidney. Maybe hard alcohol, but if you're talking about mixed drinks, like twisted teas increase the odds of you getting kidney stones. So would arguably Smirnoff Ices or White Claws or any sort of mixed drink would probably increase your chances of getting kidney stones. Anything involved with sugar.
Listen. I've read 3 articles which stated alcohol prevents kidney stones.
Give me a second.
Okay, sure. I'm right.
Alcohol does not help pass a kidney stone. In some studies, alcohol has been proven to, in light to moderate amounts, benefit some aspects of health. However, evidence does not suggest that alcohol can help someone prevent nor pass a kidney stone. AmericanAddictionCenters.org.
1 second. Let me confirm. Okay. Alcohol can also fight colds, and people that are hiking in the mountains also use alcohol to stay warm.
Alcohol actually lowers your body temperature. It doesn't make you stay warm. It gives the false sense of feeling warm. But if you actually drink a lot of alcohol, the rate in which you will actually die of hypothermia is increased. So that's wrong.
No, it says that alcohol gives you warmth.
It
or something
makes
like
you
that.
feel warm. It doesn't make you warm. It actually drops your body temperature. It would make you die quicker.
What? No. Okay, so
What do you
beer
mean?
has also.
No. What do you mean? No. What do you mean?
Listen. Goddamn, listen.
I
Listen.
am. I'm telling you, you're wrong. I gave you a counterpoint on why you're wrong.
Listen. Beer has also vitamin B.
What has vitamin B? Alcohol?
Beer.
Beer has vitamin B.
Yeah.
Okay.
And beer also strengthens your bones.
And no, it doesn't. And not to that amount. But alcohol has vitamin B. Other things that have vitamin B: whole grains, meat, eggs, legumes, seeds, dark leafy greens, and fruits. You don't need vitamin B. Vitamin B. If you eat food, you have vitamin B.
Does wheat have vitamin B?
Does weed have vitamin B? No. But
no.
Okay, so
exactly.
your whole argument on why weed is worse than alcohol is it doesn't have vitamin B.
No, let me speak. I have more arguments.
Okay, but I gave you a counterpoint to the one about feeling warm, and you just said I was wrong when I'm right.
But the article says that you feel warm.
You feel warm, but you're not actually warm. You die quicker. It lowers your body temperature.
How do you feel warm?
How do you feel warm? Because it gives a false apprehension of warmness, dude. Because that's how alcohol works. It's changing your brain. It's making you think you're warm. You're not actually warm though. You're actually colder. You will die if me and you went into Antarctica and we saw who froze to death faster and one of us was drunk and one of us wasn't. Whoever was drunk would die quicker.
Okay, so people also smoke weed to feel cool. Then
people drink to feel cool. What do you think about frat parties? Greek life.
There are so many 15-year-olds that smoke weed than drinking alcohol.
People objectively start drinking alcohol before they start smoking weed.
No, I know so many kids that smoke weed.
You're using a personal statement. That's a fallacy. That's a logical fallacy.
I'm objective. I'm objective.
You're not I don't know what you're saying. I'm telling you that, like, if you're using a personal experience to explain why you're correct, that is a logical fallacy. It's a flaw in our argument.
Okay, so there are also different types of alcohol, like beer, tequila, etc.
Whiskey, rum, vodka.
Yeah. And wheat is only wheat. There are no variations.
Incorrect. Sativa, indica, hybrids, and there's also different strains of weed.
Yeah, but alcohol has more variations than wheat.
No, it doesn't.
If you state like all 8 different alcohols.
You listed 8 different alcohols. There's like 5,000 strains of weed.
Yeah, you can also make like 5,000 different types of alcohol.
No, you can't. You'll just mix vodka and whiskey. It's not changing anything.
Yeah.
You can change. You can actually like change the growth of weed. Like weed can you can change it. Like over time, it's like you're fucking naturally selecting things.
Okay, so red wine also burns fat, so alcohol will actually make you lose weight.
No, it won't. You said that point last time, and I told you that in large cases, alcohol actually increases weight. No, it's a large cause of obesity in the United States as well as other countries. Alcohol makes you gain weight. Red wine alone. Okay, you know what else makes you lose weight? Fucking eating ghost peppers. It's a bad point. I'm just saying, like, dude, you're using the same points that you used last time.
No, I didn't.
Okay, well, you use the feeling warm point, but that doesn't mean anything. Even if you were correct about that, how does that make alcohol better than weed?
Okay, so alcohol also provides some health benefits, such as reducing the risk of developing and dying of heart diseases.
No, it increases it after a large point of consumption.
And reducing the risk of strokes.
It will increase that if you actually use it in larger amounts, which most
Yeah,
people
but
do.
I'm talking about small doses,
Small
not large
doses, yeah,
doses.
but we're just talking about the
Yeah.
drug in general.
Well,
So, okay, then small doses of weed do nothing. Small doses of weed are only beneficial in that regard. Give me something on why weed is bad then. Small
it,
doses of alcohol could still be
it's
bad.
bad in the whole world except for the Netherlands and North America.
It's banned. That doesn't mean that it's bad.
And weed can also be poisonous if you have a bad dealer where you bought it.
That's
Where
if
you
they
bought
lace
it
it with
from.
fentanyl and they sprinkle it with fentanyl. You're giving an
Yes,
offshoot
but yes,
example. You're
yes,
not.
but
You're
yes, but
arguing about
listen,
the
people can do
situational
that.
of.
People
You're
cannot do
arguing
that
about the
with alcohol.
situation
People
in.
cannot do that with alcohol.
Okay, but Cobra, you're arguing about the situation in which you obtain the weed. Weed in general is not laced with anything. If you get bad weed, that's not because weed is bad. That's because you're getting a drug dealer that's giving you fucking laced weed.
Okay. Alcohol also alcohol also raises your HDL.
What is that?
Um,
I could
H.
Google it.
No, I'm googling it. HDL is high density lipoprotein.
It's good cholesterol.
Yeah, it's good cholesterol.
I would
Absorbs
assume
absorbs
that's not
cholesterol.
all alcohols. That's only like beer or something that's like somewhat fermented.
What's the difference? What's
Uh,
the difference between beer, tequila, vodka,
well, beer
wine,
is
red
it's
wine,
how they're
white
made.
wine?
It's how they're made. It's like tequila is made from fermented cactus, but whiskey is made from like you could get rye whiskey, you could get like how is whiskey normally made, chat? I don't know. But vodka, it's like different things that are fermented effectively. Beer has a lot of carbs, which would kind of ideally coincide with the good cholesterol. But in
Okay,
broad,
so
dude,
alcohol is also necessary for fun. Shy people get more open, and people get more
you make
loose.
more dumb decisions on alcohol than you would on weed.
No, but you get more loose if you drink alcohol.
Okay, you
Like
can
shy
get more
people
loose
will
on
be
weed.
more open. No, but alcohol is different,
How?
and because people will get more loose
But
than
how?
if they consume weed. I don't know. It does something with your brain, with your dopamine shit.
No, but you just argued that dopamine was bad. Now you're arguing that dopamine's good with alcohol. How can you argue that dopamine's bad for weed but good for alcohol?
No, it releases a small dose of dopamine if you consume alcohol.
It also kills your brain cells at like a rapid rate.
Some brain cells. Weed also kills some brain
Yeah, but
cells.
not as much.
Everything kills some brain cells.
Okay, then okay, but you still haven't given me like a valid reason on why weed's worse than alcohol.
I've said like 5 reasons.
Can you repeat them? Other than the warmth one.
Okay, beer has vitamin B.
Yeah, okay. Beer has vitamin B, but that's only a small segmentation of alcohol. And I could give the counterpoint that weed can help with anxiety and certain mental disorders, as well as just general feelings of like pain and arthritis. In which you
Okay,
gave the
but
point that you
beer has
don't feel pain on weed, but you do feel pain on weed. It's just less.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, but why is that bad? Like, why is feeling pain? Why is feeling less pain on weed bad?
Because like you can't feel anything. It's bad.
But what? You can't feel
If
pain, but like that's
if
while
someone
you're
if
high.
someone
That would
steps,
be to
listen,
solve something.
listen. If someone stepped you, you will not notice that.
I'm gonna notice if someone stabbed me if I'm high.
No, in your back. Like if an Englishman is going to stab you in your back,
I would
you will not
notice.
notice
You
that.
would probably actually less. You would probably notice less likely on alcohol, because if you're insanely drunk compared to insanely high, your sensations are actually kind of increased on weed comparable to alcohol. You would less likely notice, but realistically, you would notice either way. If I was really high and somebody stabbed me in the back with a knife, I'm going to know.
Okay, so alcohol also gets you more active, and scientists don't know why.
Alcohol gets you more active?
Yeah, yeah.
You mean like while you're drunk?
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, that I would give you I'll give you that point for the sole reason that like weed generally makes people more relaxed comparable to alcohol. But I would also say that the calorie consumption of alcohol isn't really
I said active.
huh?
I said active.
Yeah, active. Like moving around.
Yeah, you said
Yeah.
something else.
No, well, yeah, I'm giving a point. I'm saying that weed makes you more relaxed and like not want to do anything, whereas alcohol can make you more active. However, the calorie consumption of being so active on like you're to get really drunk, most people drink mixed drinks, especially young people. And the amount of alcohol that you're consuming, and calories you're consuming compared to the reverse effect of how active you are, you're still gaining weight. Like alcohol is objectively worse for
No,
you
no,
gaining weight
no.
wise.
That's untrue.
No, you said
My
red wine makes you
no.
lose weight.
Listen. My fifth reason, yeah, red wine loses.
That's red
Red
wine.
wine also turns fat. Yes, but red wine is alcohol, right or not?
Yeah, it is alcohol, but it's a small
Yeah,
subjective
exactly.
thing
So
of
red
alcohol.
wine
And okay,
turns
I'm
fat.
gonna Google. Does red wine make
Don't
you
Google.
lose weight? No,
Please,
but you're
please.
allowed to use Google, and I'm not. A separate study found a link between wine and weight loss. Yes, but
Yes,
I would say,
exactly.
dude, yeah, but who do you know that now I'm gonna do a reverse logical fallacy? Who do you know that drinks one glass of red wine per night? That's it.
Like I don't know, woman in their 30s or
No,
something. Like
women in their
woman
30s
drinks
get
red wine.
wine drunk and they get hammered on red wine. They're not drinking one glass. They're getting boxed wine and chugging a bag of wine. They're drinking
Yeah,
a bottle.
but they are depressed. That's something else.
They're depressed. Weed helps with depression. Okay, then I could give that counterpoint on why weed is better than alcohol.
No, but they consume a lot of red wine because they're depressed.
Yeah. So
And
weed is
that's
better
not
for you
good.
then.
No, you have to drink red wine in a small dose, and not
Yes.
in
Okay,
a
that's all
large dose.
alcohol then. But I would say, okay, alcohol in small doses. Okay, we got to change the argument here. Alcohol in small doses is good for you. In certain regards, like red
Yes,
wine, right?
yes,
I'm agreeing with
exactly,
you. I'm agreeing with you. But
exactly.
so is weed. So is
Oh,
weed. And in small doses, okay, now in small doses, weed and alcohol have benefits. Let's ramp it to where you chug half a bottle of vodka or you smoke a lot of weed. Which one is worse for you, health effect wise, in life?
weeds will destroy your neurons.
But no, it won't.
It will.
It reduces the capacity of your brain to sense dopamine. It's just growing. It's your body growing used to having a weed tolerance. That's why people take weed breaks. Like potheads take like 2-week breaks where they don't smoke, and then it just reheals. But if you drink a bunch of alcohol, the brain cells that it kills aren't coming back. They're
That's
dead
personal
forever.
stuff, or that's like personal thing, or what you said. Like I mentioned something about friends, and you just
I
mentioned
mentioned
about
something about friends to give a point. You mentioned that your friends. You mentioned a logical fallacy in the idea that your friends
I didn't say my
drink.
friends.
You
I
said
said my. I
people
said
around
people
you.
around me.
Yeah, people around you start smoking at a very young age. I used an example to back up a statement in my
Yes.
idea that okay, but dude, I say that people take breaks from weed. Potheads take breaks from weed to reheal their dopamine receptors. That's just a blatant fact. And then I also brought up my friend does that. That was just me bringing up a counterpoint. That has remove that. Fine. Weed breaks reheal your dopamine receptors and it reduces your tolerance to weed. Your point your point has no standing in people start smoking before they start drinking. You use your friends as an example. I didn't initially. I used my friend as an example after I already made my point and defended it. Your evidence to your point is your friends or the people that are around you. Mine isn't. Mine is just in basic knowledge. Weed breaks reheal your dopamine receptors to a degree, and they reduce your tolerance to weed. You're no longer as tolerable as you used to be. Your point was only backed on the fact that people around you smoke before they start drinking. That is not a concrete fact.
Okay. Fuck. I just want to say something. Fuck. Oh yeah. So do you agree with the prohibition then? If you hate alcohol.
If I hate alcohol, why don't I want the prohibition to be a thing?
Listen. You hate alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you agree
No,
with
I
the
don't hate
prohibition?
alcohol. I'm saying that alcohol is worse than weed. I don't hate alcohol.
You said that you were allergic to alcohol.
I didn't say I was allergic to alcohol. I said my girlfriend's allergic to tequila. That's one
Oh, yeah,
section of alcohol.
My bad.
No, you're
But
fine.
So, do you agree with prohibition or not?
No. The prohibition would never. I don't agree with the ban on weed either. That's why weed is getting legalized. I mean, weed is proven to be
Where?
very profitable in the United States, as well as the fact of it being a medical usage to help
Because
people.
weed is
The reason I
illegal.
don't agree with the prohibition is because
Like cocaine is also profitable, and also heroin and
why don't I let
ecstasy.
that be legalized? Because they're not natural drugs and they're proven to be addicting.
Yeah,
More
weed's
so,
also addictive.
weed is not nearly as addictive as heroin or anything like that. Opioids have a very high addictive rate in terms of serotonin levels. Now you're bringing in the serotonin into the argument, which is a different chemical that affects your brain. Drugs
Okay,
like
cocaine
Molly.
is
Let me talk, bro. You're
cocaine.
interrupting me. Molly,
Let me
ecstasy,
think, bro. Fuck.
Molly, ecstasy, heroin, any of those things will pump your brain full of serotonin, and then when it's done, you'll feel the happiest you ever were, right? And then when you're done and you wake up, you'll feel the worst you ever would. Weed doesn't do that to you the way that those hardcore drugs do. Also, weed is a plant. Heroin and ecstasy is pills and like just chemical drugs.
But they make cocaine in the woods.
They make
So
cocaine in the woods and they douse it in gasoline, so it's not
sure.
natural. Yeah, have you watched Gordon Ramsay's documentary on how they make cocaine?
No, I've watched Narcos.
Okay, well, Narcos is a fictional documentary, isn't it? Is Narcos fact or fiction?
No, no, it's a fucking Pablo Escobar show.
Yeah. And how do
So
they make
it's
cocaine? Is cocaine just ground up leaves, or is it natural, or do they put stuff in it?
I saw leaves.
You saw leaves, yeah, that's the base thing, but they also put other stuff into it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, that's just my main point. Is like, dude, the reason I'm arguing for weed being better than alcohol is just it doesn't have adverse health effects comparable to
Uh,
alcohol. Alcohol in large
I've, I've,
amounts,
I've
in
I've
large amounts,
listed
in large
5 points
amounts.
that
What?
I've listed 5 points why
Yeah, and
alcohol
I
is
shut
good.
all of them down.
Red wine burns fats.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
people smoke weed
Can
when they work
can you
out.
disagree with that? Can you disagree with that? Red wine burns
No.
fats.
But I can't disagree with that. I'll give you that point, but that doesn't mean you win the
Thank
argument.
you.
You have a Cobra. Just because you have 1 point doesn't mean that you won the argument. I gave 10, 20 different points that beat your points.
Beer has vitamin B.
I know. I
2
know.
points.
I know. Okay, 2 points. Yeah, you have 2 points. Beer has vitamin B, but so beer has vitamin B because of what it's fermented in. Beer is the fermentation process of other foods. Like you could just consume food. You don't need beer to have vitamin B. It's not the alcohol
Okay.
in it. The
Wait,
actual
wait,
alcohol itself is not what's
wait,
giving you
wait,
vitamin B. Then okay, then I can give you that point. Actually, your vitamin B point is shit.
wait.
Vitamin B is not found in alcohol. Vitamin B is found in beer. It's the
Yeah, I
non-alcohol
said that.
part of
I
beer.
said that. Beer
Okay.
has vitamin B. I said
Yeah.
that.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then you're not arguing for alcohol, you're arguing for beer.
Beer is alcohol.
Yeah, but what's the vitamin B in beer isn't alcohol. It's the other parts of beer. That's why beer
Okay.
is 5% alcohol.
Okay, so this point's a little weird, but alcohol can improve sexual function in men.
Alcohol can improve sexual function.
Yes, in men.
To a degree, yeah. Like you could say it improves like libido. Like I think it's called like libido. It's like a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of. It's like chocolate helps with
yeah.
it too as well. Yeah, but insane drinking can actually decrease that. There's a common term called whiskey dick, which is when you're so drunk that you can't get hard. That's a thing. Yeah, like that makes it worse. Right, so I would say your point is valid to a degree, but I'm arguing in points of large consumption.
And where did you get that information? Where did you get that information that
Whiskey dick?
that alcohol can like not get you hard?
Look it up. You told me not to use Google. I mean, you can fact check me. You told when I pulled up Google, you got mad at me. You told. Do you want me to Google it right now?
No, use Bing.
Can large rates of alcohol reduce The ability to get hard. My search history is going to take a tank on this one. Drinking large amounts of alcohol can make it hard to get or keep an erection. This is called erectile dysfunction. Alcohol interferes with the messengers in the brain that tell the penis to fill with blood. It can also happen because alcohol can reduce the production of testosterone. Boom. Alcohol reduces the production of testosterone, which is a chemical and a hormone in your body that is responsible for building muscle and other human functions. So, bam. Your point of wine making you lose weight or vitamin B is now shut down again.
Red wine also boosts your memory.
No. In what regard? In what regard?
In memory.
Like in memory, but how much red wine?
Just red wine. What the fuck you mean?
Well, your one point is about beer. Researchers found that red wine and cheese, when consumed, both seem to be protective against deteriorating memory and other thinking skills. You're right. I'm giving you the point.
Yes.
I'm giving you the point. Relax. I'm saying, dude, your points about alcohol in general are all centralized around red wine and beer, but that is a minute fraction of all alcohol consumption.
Yes, because vodka. Okay, I'm agreeing with you. Vodka is actually bad. Yeah.
What is bad?
That's bad. Vodka.
Yeah. Well, all hard alcohol is bad. Vodka, whiskey, tequila, rum. It's high percentage.
Is whiskey a high percentage?
Whiskey is 35% normally.
Is it high?
That's very high. Beer and mixed drinks are usually 3 to 5.
Okay, so yeah, I'm right. Red wine boosts
You're right on red wine and you're right on beer. I will say you gave way better points this time than you did last time. But
I know I'm smart.
I would still say overall you're still wrong about weed being worse than alcohol.
Okay,
because it's in low quantity. You're only focused on low quantity. If I transition the argument to high quantity usage of weed or alcohol, you can't give a point.
But like I said, weed is allergic for some people.
So is alcohol. That's not. JJ Briel, thank you for the sub. Nah, I don't know. I would say you gave some valid points. I understand what you mean. In low grade consumption of alcohol, it can have health benefits, but in usage in long-term health effects of large usage of weed or alcohol, weed is less detrimental than alcohol is.
Okay, so like I said, shy people will get more loose, and that's why
not a long-term effect. You're giving short-term effects of the high.
Listen. That's why alcohol is on adult parties, like on parties, and alcohol also gives you more confidence.
You know what else is in adult parties? Cocaine. Does that mean cocaine's good for you?
But cocaine is a hard drug.
Okay, and weed isn't a hard. Okay, cocaine's a hard drug. What's your point?
Yes, that's really bad, but
yeah. Then, okay, weed is also in alcohol in adult parties.
Alcohol isn't as addictive as heroin or cocaine, and people will also forget about the problems.
Alcohol is very addictive. If you have an addictive personality.
But they're not as addictive as heroin or cocaine.
You're right. Okay, so same with weed. Weed is as addictive as alcohol.
And people will also forget about the problems if they consume alcohol.
That's a terrible. That just promotes alcohol. That promotes alcohol abuse. Saying that alcohol makes you forget about your problems promotes alcohol abuse.
Let me talk. People also watch your stream to forget about their problems, right?
Yeah, but that's not them putting something in their body.
Dopamine.
Oh, the dope. You're saying dopamine. You're saying you're getting dopamine from alcohol usage?
No, yeah, but people also get dopamine if they watch you or something like.
Yeah, you get dopamine from a lot of things. Then okay, I'll give you that point. Right? I'll give you that point. Then why is dopamine from weed bad? Fine, you get dopamine from alcohol usage. You get dopamine from watching streams. Why is dopamine from weed bad then?
Because it kills neurons.
So does alcohol, and it doesn't. No, it reduces. Oh my god! It reduces your acceptance to dopamine. Like dopamine doesn't affect you as much. That's why people grow tolerances to weed. But like you get if you're saying you get dopamine from watching my stream and you get dopamine from alcohol, then why is dopamine from weed bad?
Because it gives you a lot of dopamine.
Because weed gives you too much dopamine.
Yeah. That's
Why
what I
can't you
said.
just use it in small amounts then, like you're arguing for alcohol?
No, we are arguing about a large amount, right?
You were initially. I've been trying to argue about large amounts, but you've been only arguing about small amounts.
Yeah, but
Now we're
the
going to
past,
transition to large
but,
amounts. Okay, well then large
but the
amounts of
past 5 minutes
alcohol
we
give
were
a large
talking
amount
about
of
large
dopamine.
amount.
What?
Sorry, what did you say?
I said if we're arguing about large amounts then in terms of dopamine usage, large amounts of alcohol add a lot of dopamine as well as weed. And large amounts of alcohol could put you at risk to hurt yourself or others way more. You make alcohol impairs your critical thinking skills way more than weed does.
Okay, a woman gets libido boosting powers.
Yeah, that's the thing about you're saying they can have better sex if they're drunk.
Yes, and wine can also make you live longer.
Wine can help with wine is the one point
And
that you can
and
have.
vinyl or vinyl or how you pronounce it can also boost your vaccines effects.
Wine can boost your vaccines
No,
effects.
vino or vino. I don't know how to pronounce that. Like Vino.
Vino?
Yeah, I
What
think
is
so.
vino?
I've never heard of that,
I've
but
never heard of
vino
that either.
Yeah, but it boosts your vaccines effects.
Oh, it's a type of wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, okay. The one point you have is wine. I'll give you that. I'll say you.
Alcohol in general about confidence boost.
Yeah, but okay, confidence boost is not you're arguing for the short-term effects of it. That's a bad plan, right? Like if you're going to come here and you're going to say that alcohol is better than weed because alcohol makes you happy at parties, then I could say the same thing about weed. And it doesn't have the downside of
but like you said, weed will get you more relaxed, but alcohol gets you more active.
I mean, that's the difference between sativa and indica, the two different types of weed. Sativa makes you more alert and that's usually when if you go to an adult party, you'll see that people will be generally smoking sativa. Indica is what people smoke when they get really relaxed.
Alcohol.
What?
People will drink alcohol on at parties.
And people smoke weed at parties too.
Not here, maybe in America.
In America, everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, but
there's whole rooms at frat parties that are dedicated towards people smoking.
Yeah, but you're talking about America. I'm talking about the world.
I'm talking about the world as well. People smoke weed a lot.
No, you were just talking about America, that weed is used at parties, but that's only in America.
Okay, well, that may be because your access to weed is lower where you are. Growing weed where you are might be hard to do. It might not be because weed is considered as worse. It might just be because weed is hard to grow. Do you live somewhere where it's cold?
I live in the West.
Is it cold? Don't tell me where you live. Is it cold? Like there?
Is England cold, Chet?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's cold. I mean, you could grow weed in greenhouses. Maybe it's just because the UK has a higher crackdown on, like, weed consumption, but I would still say people are still smoking weed in the world, not just the United States. I would say it's more prominent in the United States because it's becoming more legal, but then if you want to, like, roll over to Norway or go over to Amsterdam, people probably smoke a fuckload of weed at parties.
Norway?
Amsterdam.
You said Norway?
Amsterdam, it was in the Netherlands. Bro, I've been respectful this whole time. I had one mishap on geology when you literally told me alcohol makes you warm. If you're going to try and make fun of me for fucking up and saying Norway instead of the Netherlands, I will shit on your entire fucking argument.
Sorry. I apologize.
It's fun. Yeah, I fucked up. Okay? Yeah, fucking hilarious. I said Norway instead of the Netherlands. My point still stands. Amsterdam. If you go to the Netherlands where it's legal, there's a lot of people that'll smoke weed there.
No, it's
I said geology. Geology is the study of fucking rocks. Geography.
Another misstep, but it's only legal in Amsterdam and not in the rest of the Netherlands. I live next to the Netherlands, so I know that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, just because I'm using the argument of the United States doesn't mean, like, the United States isn't the only place where a lot of weed consumption is consume. And a
North
lot of
America.
South America, weed consumption is high, like very high.
No, in South America, weed is banned.
Bro, just because something's banned doesn't mean people don't do it.
Cocaine is banned in my country, and people don't use it.
I would bet my bottom dollar that someone snorts coke in your country.
I said not that often.
Well, yeah, because it's harder to obtain things when they're illegal, but that doesn't mean people don't do it.
Exactly. That's why.
Okay, well then, so you're saying if weed was legalized in your country, you would be more open to the idea that alcohol is worse than weed.
If my president, if wise people say that weed is better than alcohol, maybe.
But a lot of people argue for the consumption of weed. Can I give a counterpoint on why weed is better than alcohol? Why do doctors prescribe weed?
I do not. What?
Why do doctors prescribe weed?
Yeah, only in America, not here.
No.
America.
Well, where you are. Okay, then you're arguing for where you are. They prescribe weed in other countries.
No, I'm arguing about the whole world. You are arguing about America.
Okay, I'm arguing about the world too, where they prescribe countries where prescribable weed is capable. Oh, that's myself. I was like, what the fuck? No, I was gonna say, weed, why? Okay, fine. Whole world. Why do some countries prescribe weed, but no countries prescribe alcohol usage?
So what did you say?
For talking about the worldwide stuff, why do some countries prescribe weed, one of which being the United States, when no countries prescribe alcohol usage in large amounts?
Because United States have a lot of crime or something.
What?
The United States has a lot of crimes.
So they're prescribing weed usage because the United States has a lot of crime.
Yeah, a lot of people use weed, so why don't they legalize it?
Why weed isn't legalized for the sole reason of they don't want to arrest people for it anymore. It's legalized because people in the United States are coming to realize that weed isn't as bad as it generally is supposed to be seen as, especially in comparison to alcohol. The idea of legalizing weed is people realizing that alcohol in large amounts is worse than weed. So why would weed, something that is generally considered as not as bad as alcohol, be illegal, but something that is worse than alcohol or worse than weed would be legal, aka alcohol? That's why people legalize it.
Then why is ecstasy banned?
Why is ecstasy banned? Because it's bad for you and it's addictive. When you take ecstasy, you'll have the best high of your life, and then when you wake up the next day, you'll want to kill yourself.
Ecstasy isn't that
ecstasy is very addictive. Ecstasy produces objectively. Ecstasy it produces a large amount of serotonin and dopamine in your body to the point where it overloads it, and your natural production of serotonin is decreased for days after, to the point where you feel depressed after, even if you're not at risk for depression. If you take ecstasy or the street drug of it, which is Molly, the day after, you will feel the worst you ever felt in your entire life.
Wait, have you took ecstasy?
No, but I researched this shit.
Okay, nice, good.
I've never taken ecstasy, Cobra. Don't worry.
Nice. Okay, so the weed. If people consume weed, will they forget about their problems?
Yeah. You don't forget about your problems on weed. Here's the difference. When you drink. No. Let me talk. Let me give my point, and then I'll let you talk, bro. Come on, please. On alcohol, alcohol makes you forget about your problems, and then when you wake up the next day, you have to deal with those problems. People that smoke weed medicinally and they have anxiety, they confront their problems when they're on weed. They realize they're not as big of a deal as they think they are, and then when they wake up the next day, they move on. Alcohol is a temporary fix. Weed in medical prescriptions towards anxiety and depression can be a long-term somewhat solution. I'm not saying weed fixes problems. I'm saying in medical aspects it can. It can help because you confront your problems comparable to alcohol where you just forget about them.
Alcohol can do it too, and if you get a hangover, there are various different techniques to cure that hangover.
Yeah. There's various techniques to cure a hangover, but there is no hangover on weed. So there's no need to cure it.
If you get hangover from alcohol, you can cure it easily.
Yeah, but then there's no need to even have a cure with weed.
Yes, but
Dr. Lewis,
alcohol
thank you
is
for the sub.
that. But alcohol is still better if you like. If you drink alcohol and you forget about your problems, the next day when you wake up, you will maybe get a hangover. But if you will like eat eggs or drink water or like do more stuff, you will not get a hangover.
Yeah, no, you will. You'll still have a hangover. It'll just be reduced. You'll still be hungover for like 6 hours.
And doesn't weed like fucks up your liver or something?
I don't know about the research between weed. Does weed hurt your liver? No, not alcohol hurts your liver. The general consensus is that only large daily consumption of cannabis is usually associated with the development of liver fibrosis and can affect liver health. Alcohol affects your liver way more than weed does.
Sure.
Yes. If you drink large amounts, your liver starts to have a hard time processing the alcohol. Have you ever seen a liver of a healthy person versus alcoholic?
No, I haven't.
You haven't. Let me show you a healthy liver versus an alcohol liver if you're on my stream
Yeah,
or for
although
my
in my
chat.
country, in my country, people aren't that unhealthy.
Well, they're not that unhealthy, but large term consumption of alcohol can affect your liver to the point where it kind of looks like popcorn. You develop
Yes,
when
maybe
you
maybe
develop a
in
lot of
America,
fat
but
over it. Not in America. No, this is everywhere. This affects every single person. All
no,
humans are affected by alcohol the same.
I mean in America this happens a lot because you
A lot
do
more
a lot
because
of.
there's a larger consumption of alcohol. Yeah.
Hey IK, this is a busy time,
Yes,
but I do
Americans
have
are
anxiety issues,
addictive
but I
to
am also
alcohol.
scared to try weed. Is there any tips to kinda just get me to try it out?
Hold up. I'll answer that bit demo after I'm done this conversation with Kobar. No, I know what you mean. Like, Americans are more addicted to alcohol. You could say they consume more alcohol, but it's still the general basis of alcohol consumption in broad, regardless of the country. Alcohol is worse than weed, and it can affect your liver as such, as I showed, regardless of what country you're from.
Okay, so alcohol is also older than weed, so it's more socially accepted to drink alcohol than
That's
smoking weed.
why you just proved why you think that it's better. The reason I genuinely
And
think that you think weed is worse is because it's illegal in some countries and it's only now becoming legal. You just said that alcohol is more socially accepted because it's been legal longer. Exactly. So why not try and understand why weed is accepted?
If like the old wise people, the presidents, the senate accept weed as just accepts weed, then maybe I will agree that
They
weed is
do. I
better
mean,
than
I could
alcohol.
look up the states. What states
Yeah, but
is
that's in
weed?
America. I'm talking about the world.
You're talking about the world. Okay. What countries is
Yeah,
weed
Jamaica,
legal?
the United
2022.
States.
Let me Google it. Weed friendly countries. There are currently 15 countries that have weed legalized.
15 of the, I don't
15
know,
countries
300 countries.
15 countries have it completely legalized. The United States is not considered one of them because it's only partially legalized in the state. If you go to Costa Rica, yeah, you did. I said South America. They're all South American countries, and you said that I was wrong. Belize, Costa Rica, Mexico, Jamaica, Australia, Cambodia, Laos, India, Sri Lanka, Brazil, Ecuador, Uruguay, Colombia, Chile, Argentina.
Wait, didn't you say South America?
I said a lot of South American countries. I can pull up this graph here.
Oh,
This is where
South
weed
America.
is recreational,
I
decriminalized. A
thought
lot of countries have
I
it
thought South
decriminalized. Only
Africa.
some countries have it legal. Decriminalization of weed means that you wouldn't be arrested for it, but they would just take it from you.
Yeah, that happens everywhere.
No, you would get arrested. You're saying you live in England.
No, I don't.
Okay, whatever. Or you live somewhere, maybe Belgium. Decriminalize up to 3 grams. If you live in, don't tell me where you live, but I'm pretty sure you said you lived in Belgium one day. If you live in Belgium, you can legally carry less than 3 grams of weed or cultivate one plant. And you can have medical weed, sativix, whatever that is.
This Wikipedia is just Kev. In Belgium, you cannot carry weed.
So this Wikipedia is completely wrong.
Maybe only for Belgium, but in Belgium it's illegal.
Personal possession of weed in Belgium has been decriminalized since 2003. All adults over the age of 18 in Belgium are allowed to possess up to 3 grams of weed on their person at one time or one weed plant in their home.
Yeah, but they are adults.
Yeah, okay, that's what we're arguing about. We're arguing about adult consumption of it. I'm not arguing about, like, minor consumption of weed and alcohol. I'm talking about adults.
But I had points about minor things, like children things.
Well, no child should drink alcohol.
Yeah, but children drink alcohol.
They shouldn't.
Yeah, but they do.
Okay, but that still doesn't prove you right.
That children don't drink alcohol. Or what do you mean?
Like, I'm saying, my argument was that weed is better for you than alcohol is. I'm not arguing that either is good. Both of them have downsides, right? But you're saying that we should be mentioning the minor aspect of it. We shouldn't. Minors shouldn't be consuming alcohol or weed.
Yeah, no one should consume alcohol or weed.
Yeah. Well, you're saying no one should smoke weed or alcohol no matter what your age is.
And minors also consume alcohol and weed. Don't forget about them.
I know, we already talked about them because you were saying people smoke at a very young age.
Yeah, 14, 15.
Yeah, so but they also drink.
Yeah, but they smoke earlier than.
I wish you had said this. The one point you could have said, which is factually true, is minor weed consumption before the age of 25 in large amounts can reduce the ability of the brain to grow. Like, if you're a pothead at the age of, like, 10...
No, I said that. But I said 21.
Yeah, well, women, it's different for women and men. Men's brains stop aging at an older age. Men's brains stop aging or growing around the age of, like, 25. Women, it's, like, 21. Oh. That's why women are generally perceived as more mature than men. But, because their brain grows faster. But what I'll say is, like, high amounts of consumption of weed can reduce the ability of the brain to mature if you're doing it in insanely large amounts when you're very young. But that wasn't my main argument. I mean, you should have said that, but that wasn't even my main argument. I said that. I think you said that the first time.
I said, like, weed. If you consume weed before you're, like, 21, I believe, it will fuck up your brain, like your neurons. Right?
Maybe.
I said that.
Yeah. All right, bro. I gotta fucking go. I'm done with this argument. I'm almost streaming for 4 hours. I gotta leave my house in 5 minutes. You didn't win. No, you didn't win. I'll call that you made a few good points, but I'll still say you lost that.
Yeah, and I said that you lost.
Okay, fine. Well, then we're on a draw then, I guess.
Do I still get my sub?
Yeah, you get your sub? Oh, fuck off. Sure. I'll get for giving an hour of fucking content. I'll gift you a sub next time you need a fucking sub. But don't annoy me in my chat because you still kind of lost the argument.
I don't annoy. No, I back myself up, and your arguments are just not good.
Okay, no, I'm not giving you the sub anymore. Then we're breaking. Nah. You just said my arguments weren't good when I clearly beat you. You're not getting a sub. No. Since you said that, you're not getting a sub. You're not getting a sub in my chat, but you're allowed to be in my chat. We're breaking even here. Okay. You lost the argument, but since I'm nice, we'll break even, and you're allowed to be annoying in my chat still. But I'm not giving. Okay, I
will step with my prime. I'm loyal.
Okay, thank you. No, that's a W, Cobra, for the sub with Prime there. Josh, thank you for the sub. All right. I will see you, Cobra.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he had better points that time. He did have way better points that time. The one point that was absolute shit was his point about alcohol making you warm. It doesn't. It makes you feel warm. That was the only actual bad point that he had. His points with wine and beer, yeah, they were right, but I still would say that was a minute section of alcohol. Hey, Joe, after hearing you destroy Cobra, I want to try weed. What would you recommend? Don't smoke weed unless you're 21. Or it's legal for you. But I don't know what I would recommend. I mean, there's 5,000 strains of weed effectively, or I don't know. I'm guessing there's a lot of weed strains, right? So that's why I'm sitting here like I don't really know what to tell you in that aspect. And then Tenchi Official. Hey, I know this is a busy time, but do you have any? But I do have anxiety issues, but I'm also scared to try weed. Is there any tips to kind of try and get it out or try it out? If you're in a state where you can get a medical card, go to a doctor, get a medical card, see what they get a medical card, and then go to a dispensary, a medical dispensary, and just ask them. If you get a medical card and you go to a medical dispensary, the specialists there can give you prescriptions based on what your mental needs are, effectively. Dr. Lewis, thank you for the sub. All right, we got a raid. That was fun. Cobra gave some good points there. I thought that was actually a better argument. I still think I provided a way better points, but I will give him credit to a degree. But yeah. Raid Vinny. Is Vinny live? Vinny's live. Vinny is live. We could raid Vinny. We'll raid Vinny. I'm down to raid Vinny. He's way better than me at Val. We'll raid him, though. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll be live for tomorrow. I might be live tonight with my girlfriend, but it's probably unlikely. I'm going to keep it real. If I'm live, I'm live. You'll see the noti. You'll tune in, but I don't really know for sure. But I will see you guys tomorrow for reactions. Should be fun. Monday, going to be trying out the new Skyblock World. Tuesday, not live Wednesday, going to be doing Lego Star Wars. I'll see you guys then. We're going to rate in 5, 4. Mabry, thank you for the gifted sub. We're going to rate in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It didn't raid. Fuck.